we could argue about what autocracy is. I feel like we're kind of already in it because I feel like the real owners of the country, you've heard this George Carlin bit, are actually the billionaires who have the laws written so that they redistribute.
I'm not going to argue that with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we already, I mean, we're in a fake democracy with two parties. One of them is conservative and the other is almost conservative. And the one that's almost conservative pretends to be more progressive, but never even makes an argument. I mean, literally sits there and lets anything happen without speaking up. Tell me that isn't some kind of conspiracy.
What are you referring to?
Well, I mean, there are so many ways that you could speak up about various things that are misinformed or ill-informed. We have this whole thing about fake news, right? Which was a brilliant marketing term exploited by this guy who used to be president.
He who shall not be named.
That's sort of where I am. But the thing is, has anyone ever formed some kind of a commission or a study to talk about how we can verify information? Has there been something done in our education system to teach people better critical thinking? No, because you want them dumb and working at the factories and making lattes at Starbucks. We are not teaching people. We are amusing ourselves by having them fight against each other to create more media dollars while the billionaires run our economy and keep us just poor enough that we feel entertained by buying trinkets online.
Come to my shows this weekend.
I knew if I left that space, everyone would jump for it. So everybody take your turn. Yes, Andrew.
Oh, no. I mean, I have a joke in my act now where I talk about sort of believing in the deep state conspiracy of like, there's a secret government running it and these guys are just puppets, which people say is crazy. I think it's optimistic.
I like that.
Because otherwise, these last two presidents are actually in charge of important things, which is terrifying. Right. We got a president with the attention span of a goldfish, and the last guy was literally a goldfish. Orange and bloated and likes to flush things down the toilet.
Yeah.
Orange Jesus.
But yeah, we're heading there. War, recession, disease. It feels like the 1920s all over again.
Let's do this other topic while we still have Spike and Ed and Zip, all of us here. Andrew was telling me about this in the car today. Spike, you brought it up. There is a new viral comedian out there who... I guess, from what I understand, she was doing a show somewhere, and everything's on video. Someone threw a beer on stage, I guess a beer can, and she, instead of being freaked out, picked it up and drank it, what was left in it. And it went viral, of course, as these things would, because it was a ballsy move for someone with fewer balls than Spike.
Yeah.
It's a good joke.
Yeah. Best I could do. And so now she's going to be on Kimmel. So how crazy is that?
She's up to 100,000 Twitter followers in like 48 hours. So,
and how big was she before? Have you ever worked with her?
I never met her, never known her.
No, she's a local at best comedian. Yeah.
When I checked yesterday, she was at like 25,000.
Okay.
And I was like, I'll be curious to pay attention to this number,
So the question here is, what can we stage to get Andrew those kind of views? Sorry, Ed, go ahead.
Never mind. It's okay. But can we stage?
The ironic thing about people heckling or, I tour with Steve Hofstetter, who's made a career out of insulting hecklers back. And so, there's some irony in they hate you so much, but their hate is what you're going to use to make yourself more prevalent.
Yes.
So it's like almost like if you hate something, just shut up about it. Chalk it up as a loss and do, the people who want to do their own research on the vaccine never research the comedian they're about to see. So.
Well, there's certainly a difference between heckling and assault.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's assault. But I'd take a little assault if it would pay off big time, and I could get on Kimmel.
Yeah.
If I may, this is just, and forgive me if we're going down the rabbit hole here, but this is a much bigger problem than a comedian on stage in New Jersey. I mean, what it really boiled down to was someone of a conservative lean at a comedy club decided it was okay for them to inject their political views into the act. And
I didn't know it involved politics. Tell me more.
So this comedian's doing her set, and it's being filmed. She's the first of two comedians. At one point in the show, she takes questions from the audience because she's good at audience engagement as a normal part of her act. And I've never seen her, so I'm not sure what quality. I mean, she might be a great comedian who's just waiting to be discovered. I don't know. Yeah. She starts asking folks about questions from the audience, and one of the attendants in the audience there says, "Did you vote for Trump or Biden?" And the lady's like, "Well, it doesn't really matter who I voted for. Anybody can vote. If you've got the clip, we can even play that. Anybody should vote for whoever they want to vote for." And the lady in the audience, the loudmouth, says, "Well, I think you voted for Biden." "Well, what do you think that?" She's like, "Well, I can tell by your jokes you voted for Biden." And the comedian says, "Well, I can tell by the fact that you won't shut up that you voted for Trump."
Oh, wow.
And it's a good comeback. Yeah. And it's like people, if anybody would like her to shut up, and they get a round of applause, and the room went nuts for this, telling this Trumper to shut up, and was embarrassed. The Trumper was embarrassed, so her boyfriend threw a beer at the comedian. I mean, threw a full beer can at the comedian, which hit the wall behind her.
And it was a pretty violent throw. It was not like
it was violent.
Do you want to pull up the video too?
I'll get our team of producers on it right now.
I mean, that's pretty much how it all went down.
All right. Okay, that's more than I did.
Did they grab the guy?
I was
grab him?
I was little informed, a bit informed.
Well,
the people left. The people left the club. They're now the police are going to charge the guy who threw the beer with an assault charge.
So it was a guy, not a girl, that threw the beer.
Lady got upset.
The lady got upset.
The girl was mouthing off. Yeah. Got embarrassed by the comedian. And the guy threw the beer.
Okay.
And
well, so
my whole take on this is that's the problem is we've empowered this insanely vocal minority to they're empowered now to just take over whatever situation they're in.
Okay, but this is nothing new. This occurred in Fred Flintstone's time. This occurred during the 60s.
Someone threw a shoe at George Bush.
This is someone put a pie in Bill Gates' face. This is what's different is how viral and how quickly it can go viral in these new social media platforms. But nothing's different about human nature here. And so, the fact that we're giving, and I made the joke about Trump, the fact that we take what we consider to be not desirable behavior and give it a bigger platform than desirable behavior is something we all ought to think about. Including this show. We should move on to another topic.
I think
on to another topic.
Yeah,
I think we're just more emboldened than we've ever been to be the worst version of ourselves.
I would agree that social media does that because we all crave attention and the idea of being famous in our own minds with some people. And I think, I think there's a temptation there. It's like when refined sugar was invented. Previous to that, if you wanted sugar, you had to climb a tree, you had to pick a piece of fruit, and chomp, 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 and then all of a sudden you could put sugar in everything.
You had to wait for that fruit to ferment, and then you got drunk. Now you just buy a bottle.
Now you just go to your dispensary locally and
exactly.
Yeah.
This is a big discussion in comedy right now because they call it clip culture because of these apps prioritizing these 60-second, 90-second clips. Comedians are just going into the crowd for crowd work, because it's easier to just improvise something and maybe get that out as opposed to writing a joke and crafting it and having to, spend 3 months on it.
And burn it in,
Yeah, and those clips go crazy.
And they worry that empowers the audience to then chime in during the show. But I tour with the guy who's been famous for that for 10 years, and his audiences are scared of him. So he's
so good.
Yeah. So I think it, his line is like, if I'm a sniper, no one wants to be the sniper. They want to see somebody get shot. They don't want to be the guy.
And this is, and he's great. And this is human nature because Jim Croce wrote a song about it. You don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't spit into the wind.
Don't
the rest
piss
of
on
it.
an electric fence.
It's just what it is.